Good morning, everyone. Today I would like to talk. Uh, in this on this channel, we are waging the war against advanced character of modern words, especially in the fields of intellectual activity like literature, historical literature, or heroic fantasy novels, mainly. So this time I would like to tell you about the work, work of history, written by Mr. Maurice Collis, who lived within years 1889 to 1973, and he was during his, I would say, diverse and quite turbulent life. Also administrator of British Burma. He learned a lot about Southeast Asia, but his interests were quite broad. And in 1960s, he produced a book entitled Cortes and Montezuma. It's easy to guess that this is a book not very, I would say, long. Its volume is not big, but different features of this book can tell us that it's very interesting. It's not hard to guess what's the main topic of the book, of course. Conquest of Mexico by Cortes, Hermano Cortes, and his companions, not so numerous companions, especially if we compare them to those days Mexicans that nowadays are mainly called Aztec. These were people who were speaking with Nahuatl language. Of course, their empire was quite huge. Many people were living there. The modern estimations say numbers between 16 or 20 millions those days in the beginning of 16th century of Christian era, so quite a lot. And more or less like those days France. So there were many nations speaking many languages, and Aztecs were their lords. Of course, they conquered these people. So for many of them, Aztec rulers or Mexican rulers, let's call them like this, were a sort of oppressors, and they were occupying their lands. This complicated situation and also many others tell us why why Spanish conquest of Mexico was possible. But there were also many reasons, like very strong and very, I would say, smart political instinct of political, of course, villain, but at the same time brilliant man, Hermano Cortes. Because without him and without his mental capacities, this would happen, wouldn't be possible. And despite the fact the book Cortes and Montezuma by Mr. Maurice Collis, despite the fact that its volume is not huge, in my opinion, this is one of the best description of the Spanish conquest of Mexico I have ever met. Of course, Mr. Maurice Collis refers to his 19th century pioneer of the modern description of this historical phenomenon like Spanish conquest of Mexico. I mean Mr. Prescott. And Mr. Collis complains that his work is only about 1/4 of volume of work of Mr. Prescott, that is absolute classics. But in my opinion, it's not a flaw of the work of Mr. Collis. It's nice compliment of work of his great classical giant predecessor, Mr. Prescott. That's why these two works should be read in parallel. So, if you want to refresh to yourself great event, which was the Spanish conquest of Mexico, but you want to refresh it quite quickly, then Cortes and Montezuma by Mr. Maurice Collis is the perfect book for you. I encourage strongly to read it, and later, after such preparation, one can try with the work of classics by Mr. Prescott, The Conquest of Mexico. I would like to wish you good night, all the best, and see you soon in the next episode on my channel, to which I very warmly welcome you all who want to listen, discuss and talk with me. Best wishes.